Welcome, Talawanda School District, regular meeting, Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. Ms. Felsky, please call the roll.
Mrs. King? Here. Mr. Mead?
Here.
Mr. Otto?
Here.
Mr. Wyatt?
Here.
Dr. Howard?
Here. We're going to have an executive session this evening. It's recommended that the board go into executive session to consider the employment of a public official or a public employee or official. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions?
Yeah, I'd like to bring something up. I think when you talk to the public, we have a problem as a board with the issue of trust. I think the public finds reasons not to trust the board in some matters. And one of those matters is issues of confidentiality. So I have a paper here that came from our lawyer, and it's called a designation of confidentiality, and I'll read it, and I'm going to ask each board member to sign it so the public realizes that we understand clearly the issue of confidentiality, and obviously executive session is one of those areas. So I'm going to read this and then pass it down and ask people to sign it in the appropriate spot. Designation of confidentiality, Ohio Revised Code 102.03. Information to be discussed during executive session is confidential for one or more of the following reasons. The information is protected by attorney-client privilege. The information concerned a dispute which is or may become subject to litigation or other legal proceeding would be harmful to the interests of the school district if disclosed to any opposing party or parties. The information pertains to a pending board decision on whether to employ or re-employ certain public employees or officials. The information would compromise the integrity of investigation being conducted into possible violations of law or other misconduct harmful to students or district operations. As such, preserving confidentiality is necessary for the proper conduct of the school district's business and is therefore subject to the non-disclosure requirements of Section 102.03B of the Ohio Revised Code. And so I'm going to ask that it says agreed on August 12th, 2025. I'm going to pass it down and ask that the board sign it so the public sees that we are serious about keeping confidential matters confidential. So, and then, Dr. Howard, I think we can vote on going into public session, if you would indulge me.
Thank you. Yes, I do need to just point out that from a legal standpoint, whether a board member signs it or not, we cannot prohibit that board member. If a board member does not sign it, we cannot prohibit that board member from sitting in on executive session. That is state law, but it does make it clear to the public, yes, I agree to hold matters that we discuss in executive session confidential.
My intention is to try to give the public and the staff assurance that we understand our role in confidentiality.
Can I get a copy? I'll give it to my attorney.
This is the exact same copy that you had a year ago that you showed to your attorney. Nothing has changed on it.
He told
So
me at
your
that
response
time
shouldn't change on it.
not to sign it, so I guess.
So our school attorney finds this an okay document to sign. Is your personal attorney adept in school law, or is it like a real estate attorney or something?
It's,
I don't think we need to go into
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I
It is.
All right. Well, if you don't want to sign it publicly, that's okay.
Our attorney has also made it clear that this agreement or this designation of confidentiality is a standard document, and many school boards adopt this without issue.
And so I assume, Mr. Fauski, since you're technically in charge of minutes, that'll be included in the minutes, the document and the signatures. Okay, thank you.
And if after consulting with your attorney you change your mind, you can sign it at a later date.
okay, sounds good.
Any other questions or discussion? Felsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Wyatt?
Yes.
Mrs. King? Yes. Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mr. Otto?
Yes.
Dr. Howard?
Yes. Thank you. We are now going to adjourn into executive session. we're live. Look at that. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. This is the Tuesday, August 12th, 2025, regular meeting of the Talawanda City School District Board of Education. Do I have a motion to exit executive session and start the regular meeting?
So moved.
What? Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion, questions? Ms. Kelsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Otto?
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt?
Yes.
Dr. Howard?
Yes. We're going to approve the agenda. Recommended that we approve the agenda as amended. One of the amendments is that we just added that statement to adjourn from executive session. Dr. Thoreau, would you like to talk about the amendments?
We added resignation of an EA. We added 1, 2, 3 new employees in the classified section. We changed staff member to full-time as a new hire. We added language in the templates that you will see contingent on background, drug testing, term of contract, and other requirements and condition, and each one for everybody that's hired. It was already in the administrator and exempt contracts, but now we're making it clear to be more transparent. We added a Butler County ESC Union Day contract for this coming year, and we added supplementals in the area of art, site manager at TMS, music supplemental at TMS, and assistant cheer coach at TMS.
I want to make sure everybody understands, too, when we talk about amendments, Dr. Thoreau and Ms. Tefelsky always meet with the current president 2 days before, at least 2 days before the meeting to set the agenda. Coming out of that meeting, then, the agenda is publicly posted, and sometimes then in the intervening days, other things come up. So when we talk about amending the agenda, that's what we're talking about. It's just those little things that have been added since we set the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion, questions? Kelsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Otto?
Yes.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt?
Yes.
Dr. Howard?
Yes. Thank you. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag. All right, Butler Technology and Career Development School Liaison Report, Mr. Mead.
We'll make this brief tonight. Butler Tech hosted recently United States Senator Marino at our public safety adult ed site. We always try to get our legislators in on every level to visit our buildings. That comes in handy when then we go and advocate for career tech education. Last Thursday, all 6 of the high school campuses opened up, had successful openings, and it was great to see students in the building and teachers back at work and everything. And at the last board meeting at Butler Tech, the board voted to give the exiting superintendent and our treasurer 10% bonuses. And that's my Butler Tech report.
Thank you. Legislative Liaison Report, Mr. Wyatt.
Yeah, I wish mine would be as quick as that. And I would love to have one of these reports to be a really uplifting report about legislation that's happening in Ohio. But tonight, I bring news that will fundamentally change how our schools operate and how we fund education of Ohio's children. What transpired in Columbus over the past month represents one of the most significant challenges to public education funding in our state's recent history. On July 21st, the Ohio House Republicans successfully overrode one of Governor DeWine's crucial budget vetoes in a narrow 61-28 vote. Our state representative, Diane Mullins, voted to override Governor's veto. This override eliminates our ability to use emergency levies and replacement levies. Our most important funding tools when crises hit, and they do hit, and they will hit, or when we need to maintain revenue as property values change. Think of it this way. Think of it as taking away both your emergency brake and your steering wheel from a car speeding toward a cliff. That's what we're talking about. Republicans have basically taken the local voters out of the decision-making process going forward. Now, Governor DeWine vetoed these provisions because he understood that that others don't and refuse to see. Because his veto message, he warned that eliminating these tools would force school districts into a quote, constant levy cycle, creating more frequent ballot requests that would exhaust voters and actually increase property tax fatigue. DeWine created a property tax reform work group that was bipartisan, which specifically was meant to find solutions for local taxpayers. But the House leaders ignored this collaborative approach and steamrolled ahead with their vetoes. Now, or overturning the veto. Now, here's what this override practically means for the districts across Ohio. More frequent levy requests without replacement levies will be forced to go to voters more often, not less. Elimination of emergency funding, which we've talked about a lot here. When crises hit, aging infrastructure, enrollment spikes, unforeseen expenses, we lose our ability to respond quickly to crisis situations, which is really an unreal situation for school districts to be in. Budget instability. School districts will face constant financial uncertainty, making long-term planning nearly impossible. And I want to thank Shauna and Dr. Throw and the rest of the board for really understanding this and proactively doing something about it. All of these actions create a race to the bottom that will put districts in a constant levy cycle, which no one wants. This override isn't happening in isolation. It's part of a broader assault on public education in Ohio. Education funding that includes a massive voucher expansion to go along with this that was recently declared unconstitutional by Ohio court. On June the 24th, an Ohio judge struck down the state's Ed Choice voucher program as unconstitutional. The court found that by underfunding public schools while giving private schools greater per-pupil state funding than public schools receive, the legislature violated Ohio's Constitution. And I think it's really important to underline that, because very few people know this. What they're saying is, per pupil funding, private school students actually get more per pupil funding, in some districts double, than the public school students. And public schools in Ohio educate 85% of Ohio students, but yet we actually get less per pupil than the private schools do. That is a fact that is pretty shocking. And the connection is very clear. We see really the full picture in this legislation, of what they're trying to do. They've already slashed hundreds of millions of dollars from expected school funding that we were expecting for this year. They are pushing this very voucher expansion that courts have now ruled unconstitutional, and which DeWine also vetoed. And they're overriding vetoes to eliminate our emergency funding tools just as we need them most. This isn't a coincidence. This is a strategy. Starve your local public schools of resources while funneling more money to private schools that can pick and choose their students and discriminate at will. Now, over the past few months, I've been talking to folks door to door, and one of the things that is not shocking to me is that people don't know some of these facts. But once people know some of these facts, they get more than a little bit concerned. And some of these facts that I like to point out to folks is Ohio taxpayers are funding over $250 million annually just for private school administrative cost. We have folks that come to our board meeting every time and want to know every nickel and dime and penny that we spend on administrative cost. And bless their heart, that's great. But we're an open book. We're a public school. You can see where we're spending our money. What I want to challenge everybody is to be just as equally concerned about the $250 million that goes to pay for administrative cost into a spider hole that you'll never be able to see. Because I think that's really concerning. As you can see our books. The other thing is school districts are paying across Ohio an additional $75 million per year to transport private school students to their schools. $75 million comes out of our transportation budget to do that. And we've had transportation issues here. We have 144 square miles, the second largest in the state of Ohio. We have transportation issues. Plus, it's hard to find bus drivers, routes that work. So $75 million out of transportation costs for public schools to transport those students to their private school is a real concern. And I think taxpayers ought to know that. Now, most families that receive these vouchers that I've talked to door, had no idea that their neighbors were footing the bill to this extent. They don't feel entitled to this taxpayer money, and they were generally shocked to learn some of the true cost. So I think it's very important. I think it's that we have these legislative updates, that we talk about this in a truthful, honest way, because they're misinformed. I even had a parent show me an email that they had gotten from their private school recently about this court case that said, don't worry, you just need to understand that the money that they're talking about isn't coming out of public schools. Yes, it is absolutely coming out of public schools. So every dollar diverted to vouchers is a dollar taken from public schools that educate 85% of our children. Every administrative fee paid to private schools is money not available to public school teachers, programs, facilities. Every private school bus ride funded by taxpayers is a route that can't be provided to public school students. But these families are also not served well by continuously being misinformed about the actual facts. And here's also the cruel irony. This override won't actually lower anyone's property taxes. It doesn't go to actually what's driving those costs up. It's just saying that school districts won't have the ability to raise any more funds going forward, or making it very difficult to. Now, our response must be swift and strong. As board members and community leaders, we cannot remain silent or our children's education is under attack. And I want to thank, we have a lot of community members that have gone to Columbus, that have given testimony, that have talked about our district, that have really hung a lantern on the great things we're doing. And I can't thank those people enough. And they stay on our case to continue to do that. So we need more of that. We need everyone to leave this meeting to contact their state senator, Senator Lang, because where this is at right now, it was vetoed in the House. It's over to the Senate. They have actually 2 years to decide whether or not to override this veto. We need our folks to contact their state senator to make sure that and demand that he votes no on this override. We need to continue to educate our community about what these changes really mean for the local schools. We need to continue to build coalitions within our district, with other districts facing the same threats. We need to prepare financially for the reality and to beginning to discuss as a board about how to operate under these constraints. And we've done that. We've done a great job of internally discussing what we can do going forward. Because the stakes can't be higher. It's not just about a funding formula or legislative procedures. This is about whether Ohio will remain committed to quality public education or watch it slowly starve through the death of 1,000 cuts. And people want to frame it as a property tax relief. It's a smokescreen. It has nothing to do with property tax relief. And we've seen this playbook before in other states, and we know where it leads. It leads to teachers teachers leaving their profession early. It leads to program cuts and bad results for students. So again, I ask tonight everyone leave and be able to contact their state senator and get involved and share some of these facts with your neighbors and your family and your friends, because we have to have an honest discussion in Ohio. This is the reality that we face. We don't do everything right. There's no school district that does anything right, but we're your public school. And you're the taxpayers. And you get to say on where your tax money is spent. Our Constitution says we support one common school district, public school district in Ohio. We don't support two. We can't support two. We can't have $2 billion taken out of our funds and put over here for somewhere else. That can't go on. And as taxpayers, you ought to know those facts. You ought to be upset about it, I think. And especially if you come to these meetings and care about your public school, you ought to be caring about where that other money is going to. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's also important for us to constantly remind ourselves that anywhere between 85 to 90% of children in Ohio are enrolled in public schools. And with the voucher expansion, we did not see a significant increase in families going to private schools. We saw a significant increase in families getting vouchers, but the data is telling us that somewhere between 75 to 85% of those families were families that were already in public schools.
Right, and it's also important to understand when we say
Or
vouchers.
in private schools, I'm sorry.
Right, that in Ohio, one of the things that makes it really unconstitutional is this isn't a voucher like the state gives a family a check for $9,000. A family signs an affidavit that gives that private school the right to request that money. So that money doesn't go to the family. That money goes to the district. And also, there is no accountability. This is the same kind of non-accountability kind of mess that this state got in, was featured on Frontline and a bunch of other stuff over the years with charter schools. There was zero accountability with charter schools. This is the exact same thing they're doing here. They're sending this money directly from the state capitol to the private schools with zero accountability. Do you know how much accountability we have? We have a lot of accountability, and it should be. Okay? There's zero accountability. So you want to talk about a scary situation? They're doing the exact same thing that got this state into being a laughing stock. When I was in Kentucky and fought against charter schools, I said, don't be like Ohio, okay, because of this situation. Now they're doing the exact same thing with the so-called vouchers. So that it's people that get the vouchers, that's not the issue. It's the system that these politicians have set up is the problem.
Thank you. Arts and athletics report, just very quickly. On the arts side, the band boosters had their mattress sale on Saturday. As I understand it, they had a goal of selling 30 mattresses, and they sold 31. So, way to go, band boosters. Also had a very quick conversation with Mr. Marston before the meeting. The marching band is getting their new show together that will be in 2 weeks, right? Not this coming Friday, but next Friday at the First Home football game. It is called, are you ready? Desperados. But they are not including that song. That was a boomer reference there. In athletics, again, not a lot. Things are just getting started. I do want to call out, if you haven't seen it yet, the new turf field is complete. It is beautiful. It is functioning, ready for football to start. And the sports that have started, girls tennis and boys golf, are both off to a very strong start this season. That's all I've got. Student Achievement Academic Liaison Report, Mrs. King.
So for TMS, Dr. Thurer sent me a report. TMS demonstrated strong growth in our OST scores for ELA from spring testing. We're very proud of that. However, since we're not looking at new student data as of yet, I wanted to reference a couple of items that impact student achievement that does not always get recognized. This year, we are celebrating the fact that we have 18 veteran staff members celebrating 20 or more years in education. We are also welcoming 6 new staff for the 25-26 school year. We are proud of the team that we've established here at TMS. On to Bogan. Ms. Cannon sent a report. We are excited to start the 2025-2026 school year and welcome our families and new staff members. Our teachers have been spending a lot of time preparing their classrooms to create a warm and welcoming environment for their students. We hosted our first Bogan staff retreat on August 7th that 30 of our staff members attended. The retreat was planned by our grade level chairs and was a great opportunity for our staff to reconnect after summer break. Thank you to our PTG for catering lunch for us and Butler Rural for allowing us to use their space. We would like to send a special shout out to our custodians who have been working so hard this summer, waxing floors, moving furniture, helping individuals arrange rooms, etc. We are so fortunate to work in such a beautiful and well-maintained building. We would also like to shout out our office staff who have been working diligently to answer questions from families, update class lists, and prepare our building for a successful and organized start. On to the FFA. Most of What is in my report are items from the Butler County the Butler County Fair. That was the last week of July. Talawanda FFA had a fantastic week at the Butler County Fair, with members finding success in a variety of events and competitions. From livestock shows to skill contests, our students demonstrated the results of their hard work and dedication throughout the year. Beyond the ribbons and the awards, members also represented our chapter with great sportsmanship and pride. We are thankful for the support from our families, friends, and community that made this fair week a memorable one for all. One really big item, Talawanda FFA had 3 individuals competing this year at the Butler County Fair in the Grand Showman of Showmen. So when you show livestock at the fair, you're either judged on the quality of the animal or your quality of showing. So for each species, this is just me talking because I used to show. Anyway, as you show, they pick the best showman for each species of animal, and then they all compete and have to show every species of animal: horses, cows, sheep, goats, pigs, everything you can think of. So a huge congratulations goes to Junior Wyatt Conrad, Junior Gabby McDade, and 2024 graduate Cecilia Gunther for their outstanding performances in the 2025 Grand Showman of Showmen competition. These 3 worked their way to the top through dedication, skill, and countless hours of preparation. Wyatt placed 4th, Gabby earned 2nd, and Cecilia claimed the title, for the 2025 Butler County Fair Grand Showman of Showmen. We are incredibly proud. Lastly, there is a historical cohort of American degree recipients. It is now official that 10 Talawanda FFA members will be receiving their American FFA degree this fall at the National FFA Convention. This will be the largest group of American degree recipients at one time for our chapter. We know that these individuals are deserving of the highest honor this organization can bestow upon its members, and we can't wait to celebrate with them and their families. Congratulations to Brooklyn, Abby, Ryan, Cecilia, Kayla, Cadence, Emma, another Emma, Kaylee, and McKenna. Thank you.
Thank you. Financial Liaison Report, Mr. Otto.
Matt, I'd like to thank you for explaining the situation so well about the troubles, the situation that our school district faces and the other school districts within the state of Ohio. Mr. Mead and I attended a meeting August 5th with the Butler County Board of Commissioners. The representatives for our district, or for the county, were there. Senator Lang was there. Representative Mullins was not. Big discussion for what the meeting was about was talking about property tax review and reform summit. And again, it's more of let's reduce the tax revenue that the school districts can get. Specifically, there was a lot of mention about reducing the 20 mil floor that we have. The 20 mil floor for us folks pays for a lot of the things that we pay for just for our maintenance of our facilities, to help pay for our bonds that we use to finance different buildings here, and also to help support the ongoing maintenance of our facilities. So again, it's just another attack on the funding for our school district, something that we need to be aware of. The other people that attended were also besides the commissioners, were the different offices within the county, all talking about this. Again, the 20 mil floor was really what they all settled on how to get rid of that. So I think we need to continue to contact our Ohio representatives and talk to them again about the importance of not doing this, how it impacts us. I was able to talk to Senator Lang. I talked to him, I invited him down. I'll be calling and working with Dr. Thoreau and Ms. Stafowski on trying to find a date where we can have him come to our school district. I think it's a great way for us to show what we do and how well we do it here and how cost efficient we are. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. Yeah, again, I think one of the points you bring up is the importance, though, of not just contacting state representatives, but contact your county commissioners, too. And let them know that we're not happy with these suggestions that we pull even more funds back from schools.
Yeah, Mr. Trafalski, maybe we could review again how the 20 mil floor would affect us if that was done away with. It was interesting at that meeting, Mr. Otto, all the county officers and county commissioners focused on the 20 mil floor. Not one of them mentioned anything in any of their departments where any of us could save any money. All the money can be saved by the school districts. And the state officials the same way. But the 20 mil floor, and maybe if you could briefly say how important that is to the school district and what would happen if that disappeared.
It's extremely important. So right now, 1 mil equals roughly $1.1 million. And the inside millage and then all of the voted millage, the levies going back to 1980 are rolled in there. And so with House Bill 920, it takes what was voted in 1980, 1990, 2010. Made that up because we haven't had a levy, property tax levy, since 1999. But it ramps it down, House Bill 920 ramps down what was originally voted in so that we do not collect any more. So it ramps down the millage so that we do not collect any more dollars than what that millage equated to when it was originally voted. So from my understanding, their target is really the inside millage of the 20 mil floor. And so with that being said, and 1.1 million per mill right now, our PI is funded solely by inside mills, which is 2 mills. So that would be roughly $2.2 million. And our general fund is 2.19 mills within that 20 mil floor, and that would equate to roughly $2.5 million. So we have between the general fund and the PI fund roughly $4.7 million on the table that could be lost.
Am I understanding this correct, and that's a big if, that if they, we're talking about House Bill 920, basically locking in amounts at the rate that they were voted in
Yes,
20, 30, 40 years ago,
the dollar amount.
the dollar amount, and now with the move to eliminate or restrict replacement levies,
Whole mess of a can of worms.
there's
Just
no way to compensate for
Correct.
increases in expenses,
Correct.
cost of living. Sorry, I was correct about that.
Yeah, thank you. I think what you're saying shows how seriously basic what Mr. Wyatt was talking about, assault on public education
It
right
is.
now in the state. And we people who have children in the public schools, which is most people with children, and their neighbors need to do a little more lobbying and advocating at the state level. Because when you listen to them at this meeting, they just easily dismissed things like, we'll just get rid of that and we'll get rid of this and get rid of this, all falling on public schools. Not one mention of cutting vouchers that much or anything else that much.
or
And I know Ms.
municipalities or
or
the
municipal-
townships. It's strictly only
Or
the school
townships,
districts.
Yeah, they're all fine. And Mr. Otto talked about trying to get Senator Lang down here. We actually have 2 state senators that represent our district. Senator Marty Creech reaches down in the Somerville, and so I spoke with him after the meeting to get him down and maybe visit Bogan, which is within his district. So I'll be talking to Dr. Throw about that, because I do think when we get them in the schools, and maybe we have a teeny tiny chance with some of them. Some of them are hopeless, but we might have a chance to get some of them to start thinking about what these cuts will do to children and their families. So I'll be working with you, Dr. Throw, and maybe getting him down after the year gets started and Bogan gets up and settled. But thank you for the information, Mr. Fauski.
And you have more faith than I do in that, quite frankly. And maybe I've been working politics a little long. But yeah, I think we should have them come down here. And it's unfortunate that school districts, and I've seen this evolution in over 11 years, me working on boards, is become more and more partisan, to where it's just strictly partisan. Our state legislature right now in Ohio did the same, passed a bill to make school board elections partisan races, which is the same thing they did judicial races a few years ago, and it had a great effect on that. It wiped out Democrat judges that people liked. Well, guess what? I say bring it on with that, because I want it to be very clear, because people are very sensitive about their kids' schools, as well they should be. And we ought to make it perfectly clear on which side people are on. Are you for your public schools, or are you against your public schools? And I think we need to have that come out. We need to have that be very, very clear and not muddied. Now, that's something that the governor vetoed. It passed overwhelmingly in the House and the Senate to make school board races a Democratic and Republican fight, that we have primaries. And then we win our primaries, and then we'll go into the fall as a partisan race. Most people disagree with that, but that's what we voted on. And they haven't overridden his veto, but I look forward to that in the future, because I believe we ought to absolutely make perfectly clear, people running for school board, where you stand on these issues, and where on the legislative side, where do you stand on these issues?
And I think it's, they talk about cutting budgets again, trying to tax relief, but again, they're turning around and giving, how much are they giving to the private schools? Almost $1 billion.
It was 200,
I'm sorry,
220,
$250 million administrative cost.
But
Just the administrative cost is $250 million.
how much goes for educational?
Well, nothing as far as that goes. They send in basically receipts, and they get $250 million for
I think we
administrative
pay,
cost, right?
I guess I'm not making my question.
I think you're asking how many dollars are going to private education, which is $2 billion.
$2 billion.
I think that's
Right.
That's the
what you were
question.
asking.
So we've got $2 billion going to private schools, and they're going to talking about cutting our budget. Is ironic.
Right. And this is a high property. As a transplant, I will tell you, I don't like the property taxes here any more than any single person. I come from a lower property tax state to a high property tax state. But, folks keep electing people that, decrease taxes on the richest people of Ohio, try to fund two different school systems instead of one public school system, and then they don't want to get blamed for raising property taxes, which of course they would, because they force school districts and local communities to raise property taxes or go to the voters to ask for it. And so they cap what we could do. So you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. You can't support two different school systems in Ohio, cut taxes for a lot of folks at the top, and then say that we're going to have good quality public education also. It doesn't work that way.
I think it's also important to reach out to families who have chosen private schools, and there are legitimate reasons for families to choose private schools. And I know there are a number of families who send their children to private schools who do not apply for vouchers, who do not believe that this is fair, who still say, yes, my tax dollars can go to support public schools because I'm not anti-public school. There are just compelling reasons that I have chosen to send my student to a private school. So I think we need to make sure those families as well are willing to reach out to legislators and make that point. Thank you.
Mr. Otto, were you asking how much, so from what the state gives us, $8,600, is there a state-local share split if the vouchers are going to the private school? Is that what you were asking?
I wasn't, but that's an interesting point.
Okay, so out of that dollar amount, out of the base cost dollar amount, we are affected by the state and local share. We have a 10% state share. The rest of it is coming from the income taxes and the property taxes. When the vouchers are going to the private school, none of that is taken into consideration. They get 100% of the money of that base cost.
Now, the only good thing in any of this process, it used to be the case that the private school would get that total amount, and some of that would come from the district, right? That the district would have to compensate So the district was a pass-through for some of that? I thought that was the case, that there was a base amount, and then if a student, and this was before the vouchers, this was like, if you had a school that was underperforming, that the money
A
would.
choice. Talking about a choice.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Ed choice,
Ed
yes.
choice, right.
Yes,
So,
yes.
so it's good, that doesn't happen anymore. We're not paying it, that money's not
Well,
coming
it
out
used to
from
just
us.
be a flow-through. It would come in as a receipt, and then it would go out as an expense, so that we knew, we could see, we could track how many children, how many students. We could pinpoint everything. By it not being a flow-through now, it's great from that financial and expenditure side, but now we don't have the data to say how much of our money is going to X, Y, and Z. So there's a downside to it as well.
I was just trying to find a silver lining.
The silver lining is that we're not inflating our revenue, nor are we inflating our expenses.
Thank you. All right, any other questions? Thank you for this discussion. We're going to move on to resolutions and presentations. First, we've got our presentation from our Verigy lighting rep. He's going to fill us in on this shiny system. Matt, is this mic on?
There we go. Okay.
It's a
Sorry about
magic
that.
touch, Bill.
Good evening, school board, and thank you for having me tonight and having me present this lighting solution to you and your team. My name is Chad Sewell. I work at Verigy. I am a project developer, and Verigy is a ESCO company, so we're an energy services company, and our main goal is to save our clients energy, which in return saves money. And we also, our goal is to help rebuild the infrastructure. So Bill and Shauna asked us to come and look at the lighting system here at the high school, and so that's what I'm going to present to you tonight. So the existing conditions, you have T5 fluorescent bulbs that are end of life. They're original to the building. And then you have a Lutron control system that is becoming obsolete. It's giving Bill and Shauna and their team all kinds of headaches. Materials becoming obsolete. Lutron is no longer supporting the actual software. So it's just issues after issues with the Lutron system. So our goal was to find a solution that still gives the teachers and the staff the same lighting system that you have now, but not proprietary, because Lutron is a proprietary lighting system. You have to call them if you have any issues. So our proposed solution is to remove and recycle all the fluorescent bulbs, terminate the Lutron system and make it safe, and then replace all the dimming controllers in all the classrooms, the cafeteria, the library, the auditorium, and then install occupancy sensors where there's currently occupancy sensors, and then every room will have its own switch with its own dimming capability. We'll furnish and install all new LED lamps and drivers. The drivers will allow you to dim those LED lights. And in the gymnasium, we'll remove the fluorescent bulbs and fixtures and put in brand new high bay LED fixtures with a new lighting control module, so you can dim those lights depending on what events you have. There's 42 existing wall packs that are on the exterior of the building. We'll replace those with LED with photocell sensors, so they'll turn on and off automatically. There are currently 92 exit signs that we'll replace with LED exit signs. And then all the exterior lights are currently being controlled by that Lutron system that we're going to remove. So we're going to put a photocell control on all those. That's including the existing parking lot lights that are already LED. Lutron has its own wiring, so we will replace all that wiring, put the proper wiring in for our new system. We have proposed a Tier 1 Keystone lighting product that has a 10-year product warranty, and then a 1-year workmanship warranty as well. Through our lighting audit, we counted 1,685 fixtures with total of 4,142 lamps that we will be replacing. And then the benefits of this new solution, it eliminates the proprietary system, the Lutron control system, and then it provides you with an open solution, so you're not tied to one company. If down the road you do need help, you can buy the product yourself. You can go to a local electrician for help. You don't have to call just one company. Other benefits is no one's going to be able to really tell that the solution has been changed as far as the capability. You'll still have the dimming, you'll still have the occupancy sensors. It'll just be all brand new LED. And then the decreased energy consumption, and also this project does qualify for an energy grant that opens up October 1st. We have all the paperwork all ready to submit for that. So once that opens up, we will submit for that for Talawanda. Our next slide here is the current energy spend. It's actually the energy spend from 2023 and 2024. The chart's on the left-hand side, so we actually did this for the high school and the middle school and combined them. The important factors here are the cost per square foot is 1.57. With the lighting project, we're going to get closer down to $1 per square foot, which is considered good for school districts. So right now you can see some of the grades on the energy spend is a C and a C+. So we're looking to get it closer to that B and in that A range with the lighting project. And then the charts over on the right are your energy costs and your usage. So total energy costs for middle school and high school is close to $450,000. My final slide here is our total project costs and savings. And again, I do have a note, it does qualify for that grant that we will go after. It's not guaranteed, but we will, we'll try our best to get that for you. Total project pricing, $514,252. Estimated year one savings, $68,818. Operational savings, so operational savings is, it's really cost avoidance. You're buying material right now, you're spending labor to fix the Lutron system, to work on it. All that will be avoided with the new system. And then simple payback, anywhere from 5.5 years to 7.5 years. Now the LED lighting system does have a warranty of 10 years, but it does have a lifespan of 20 before it starts deteriorating. And then the estimated electric utility reduction is just under 20%, and that's just for this high school. I got two other notes here. Shauna asked me to put kind of like a timeline together. So upon approval, the pre-construction audit, so we'll do another lighting audit, make sure we count every bulb, every fixture. That'll take 1 to 2 weeks, material 3 to 4 weeks, and then construction's 4 to 6 weeks. And we will be doing this on second shift, so we won't be disturbing normal school operation. And then some, I have 4 listed here. Shauna wanted me to list some clients that we're currently working with. Rock Hill School District down in Ironton. We just finished up a LED lighting replacement for them. Whitehall City Schools had 9 schools that we have completed. City of Piqua has 2 buildings, and then Reynoldsburg City Schools we've done in the past with all new LED lights. So with that, thank you. Do you have any questions about the solution?
I have a few questions.
Okay, go ahead.
They're pretty simple. One is you talk about the system being able to be dimmed. Can it
Correct.
also, is there control for color values?
There will not be any
There will
control
not
for
be,
color, yeah.
okay. Second question, this is just curious, so we're only doing this for the high school.
Correct.
So what was just out of curiosity, the reason for adding in the middle school usage?
I just wanted to show the overall,
The
2
overall.
buildings that we looked at, yeah.
You're not trying to sell us a new system for the middle school?
Maybe later down the road.
Ultimately, we would like to do the middle school because that will get a lot of bang for the buck.
Yeah, it
As
looks
far
like
as the
their
return on the
usage.
investment, that school is where it's at right now. This is a must, not a want for the high school, so.
I think it'd be good to explain why it's a must for us, for the public to understand.
I think he did, yeah. And
did.
the system is obsolete. You can't get parts for it anymore.
I think that's the thing. If the lights go out right now, they will be out in a room. So we need to actually do this. That's what forces us to do this.
And the control system, as was mentioned, and we talked about this when we first brought this up, that the software controlling the system is proprietary, and you have to keep upgrading that.
I don't believe we've had support for 2 years.
Yeah, right.
And before, when we had to do these upgrades, it was a cost of what, 25,000?
For the update, yes.
Just updating the system.
Right, so we were every 2-3 years, if not sooner, we were updating.
Mr.
them.
Hubbard could answer as far as the exact years, but
So there's also savings. How much is the grant?
It will be a $200,000 grant,
All right,
and it's either you get it or you don't, so.
all right.
But this will be a very good candidate to get it.
Now, also, when I think of my days in athletics and lighting and in the gyms and firing up the lights again, I know they like to have the lights dimmed and do the dramatic introduction. How quick do the lights come back on? Is it instantaneous?
Oh, that's instant,
It's
yeah, with the
instant,
LED,
yeah.
it's
All right,
instant.
great.
Yeah, and LEDs don't respond to temperature variations the way fluorescents do. They don't have to warm up.
Buzzing noise.
No buzzing noise.
No buzzing noise.
We'll miss that.
The last question I have, I know and I know, again, I'm comparing apples to oranges somewhat here, but we're basically talking about, home kind of systems on steroids, right? So I know one of the challenges with the LED fixtures that are coming out in homes is that you do have individual bulbs that can be replaced, but you also have fixtures, and if any component on the fixture fails, like any of the little diodes go dark or anything, you have to replace the entire fixture. So I guess that's my question in this upscale kind of way. Are we replacing lamps because I know LED lamps, they last 50 years, but they don't. So are we replacing lamps or are we replacing fixtures when they fail?
So the fixtures will remain. We're replacing the lights and replacing the ballast with a new driver. And all that is open procurement, so you're not tied to buying it from one company.
No, I mean, if we got the system in place with LEDs, are you just replacing a lamp or are you replacing a fixture?
In the future, you're just replacing a lamp.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
because that's a lot cheaper.
Yes, yeah.
Does anybody else have any other questions for him?
You sat here and listened to us, so we're hoping that you can even give us more of a discount on the.
I know. That's what I was telling Bill.
I was going to ask, so how confident are you in that 19.5% electric reduction?
It's actually probably a little bit higher because we have older numbers and electric rates are always increasing. So the numbers that we're basing this off is 2023 and 2024. So if we look at it again, it's probably even more.
This might be a crazy question, but would it be possible to hold back like 10% of the total and see in 6 months if we're on track for that?
Yeah, we'll track it for sure.
But hold back the,
No.
the last 10% of. So if it's not meeting that criteria.
We'll guarantee the energy savings. So if we don't
Okay.
meet it, then we write you guys a check.
Okay.
Basically, correct.
Thank you.
I think the other and we can talk about this, we're going to vote on this contract later, but the other compelling point here is getting this done sooner rather than later because costs are almost certainly going to go up in
Yes.
terms of materials.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
We're a failure away from having no lights with students returning back.
We're one failure away.
How long will the project take?
4 to 6 weeks, depending on how we crew it up.
All right.
And you're going to be able to, you said you're going to work second shift, you're going to be able to do that in piecemeal, and when students and teachers come back in the next morning, all rooms will still have lights.
Correct. Yeah, we're not going
Okay.
to leave any classroom without lights.
Excellent. All right, any other questions, or? Thank you so much for your
Alrighty.
time and your
Yes.
information there.
Thank you.
right, welcome to visitors and public participation. As a reminder, as always, we are, sorry, I can't multitask here. Every speaker is limited to 3 minutes. I will have a timer here on my phone, and I will give you a 15-second warning when your time is just about up. You're certainly free to address the board on any item of interest having to do with business of the district. Please address your comments to the board, not to any specific individual. All right. First up is Tom Heisler. And did I say that right? That's a good German name, isn't it?
Good evening, everyone. My first thing I'd like to address this morning, or this evening, I guess, is I'd like to understand why the American flag is not flown over Marshall or the high school in over a month, including the 4th of July. I did raise this issue with one of the board members before the meeting last month. Apparently, he didn't feel it was warranted for a resolution. I think that our veterans, first responders, and other patriotic citizens would disagree with the lack of addressing that. So that's all I have on that. Well, I should say that Marshall now has their flag up as of today. No flags here at the high school. So over the past few board meetings, we've listened as various members of the board and administration describe the uncertainty of school funding out of Columbus for the upcoming school year. One can only have limited sympathy for their plight. Had the administration, along with the prior and current boards, taken seriously demands by the community to significantly reduce their spending or paid attention to the mandate from those same citizens when the most recent levy was soundly defeated, they would have been in a much better position to weather any storm the state may send our way. After the levy defeat, our superintendent and treasurer put together an embarrassingly small dollar and limited impact cost reduction plan to be implemented over 3 years. They then proceeded to work the plan backwards by implementing the least impactful cuts first, except for busing, of course. Parents must be punished for defeating the district's levy. Anyone who knows anything about running an organization knows their approach was not the way to seriously cut costs. It was a half-hearted effort to make it look like they were doing something until the next levy could be placed on the ballot. Before having to get too far into the paltry cost-cutting measures, though, lo and behold, the state came to the rescue by mandating a 30% property tax increase. The Talawanda taxpayers' pain was the district's gain. Then it was Katie bar the door because they were flush with funds again. They have reversed cuts previously made and continue to spend with abandon. I believe there's plenty of administrative fat to trim from the current budget without impacting teachers or programs. This should be done immediately. With those savings and then banking the additional funds from the property taxes, there should be sufficient money to run the district for years to come.
15 seconds.
Finally, I'd like to wish the students, teachers, bus drivers, and other support staff a safe and successful year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, Corey Fry.
Good evening. Corey Fry, Riley Township. I'd like to use my time to pray over this coming school year. If you wish to pray with me, if you'd bow your head and close your eyes. Dear Heavenly Lord, I just give you thanks for this day. I ask that you look over this coming school year as the students start tomorrow. I pray that you look over the board and admin and all the staff, the bus drivers, the SROs, and most of all, the students. Lord, I ask that you protect them and look over them and allow evil not to prevail against them. Lord, I ask that the SROs would be protected, that they would not have to deal with any ill attempt on our schools. Lord, I just ask that you be with them and their protection. Lord, I ask that you be over the staff, that you would give them the tools and the resources that they need to do their job effectively. Lord, I ask that That also includes the resources and the mental and also the physical. Lord, I ask that you be with all the student drivers as they come to and from school, that you protect them and put your hand of protectance over them. Lord, I ask that you'd be with all the staff, that you would give them protection to and from school. Lord, I ask that you be with all the student athletes. Lord, I ask that not one of them would be seriously injured. Lord, and I just ask that you would be, most of all on this building, that you would, give this building and all the elementaries and middle schools and buildings in the district, put your hand over them and protect them, lead, guide, and direct them. All these things in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you. Corey, and I'm really not sure about your last name. Different Corey, not Corey Frey. Dushman?
Shano.
Duchesneau?
I also have terrible handwriting, so that doesn't help you.
It's not the worst I've ever seen, but I wouldn't have caught that, so thank you.
My name's Corey Duchesneau. Really, I'm just bringing up a concern about the LifeWise program, and I don't necessarily have a concern of its existence, but more that it's being affiliated with the school. It is a public school, and we shouldn't be religiously affiliating. It should be separation of church and state. I wouldn't mind if it's like after-school program or before school. I think that's a reasonable time to have additional religious programming, but I think the disruption of during the school day, to me, my big concern with doing it in that way is that the intent is not education, but using it as a mechanism for proselytization, that they're trying to be disruptive and to get other people to get a sense of FOMO and use peer pressure to get other kids to feel like they don't belong if they're not part of that organization. 30 minutes isn't a very long time, especially with transportation. So I'm thinking that's why, I don't think they're going to do much education. They just really want to make a show of it and be able to use that as a vehicle to come in and table and have marketing and flyers. And I don't want bullying to happen. I could see that occurring, like, hey, if your kid's not part of this organization, they're going to go to hell and that kind of a thing. And I don't want my kid going to school afraid that because she's not part of that organization, she's going to get bullied or feel left out. So I think like a more reasonable compromise would be something after school or before school. I'm very supportive of like freedom of religion. I think people should be able to express it and be involved. I'm supportive of that. I just don't think it should be during the day and taking kids out of school. So that's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Barbara Caruso. Bill, can you help her with the microphone there?
Everybody says they can't hear me, so can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think that's a little better there.
Okay.
Oh, she's got it.
What?
We were just saying we can hear you now.
We can hear you now.
Great,
You're good to
thank
go.
you. I don't have a lot to say. I've been coming pretty regularly to these meetings, and I have also been a teacher for 40-some years, and I have been impressed by the dedication of the teachers at the Talawanda schools, and I have been pleased to watch you navigate some really difficult stuff. So I want to thank you for that and say, I see you. The other thing I want to talk about in my role as president of the board of Oxford Citizens for Peace and Justice is that we are very concerned that tomorrow is the first day of school, and around here and around the country, ICE has stepped up its actions. And I think that OCPJ is interested in pursuing some kind of rapid response to incidents. So I just want to make you aware that we're going to have a way to enter that system and let us help a bit. I have read all I can read, I think, publicly about what you are saying. I notice best practices appearing around protocols. I don't know the details of them, and I'm afraid that I think the details are important. So I'm wondering if you are training people to deal, I know you have a policy, I'm wondering if you're training people to deal with ice and ice circumstances. I wonder if you are informing students about what's going on and how to respond and who to respond to. And I wonder if the school system has a rapid response policy and ability, particularly around legal stuff when you're looking at the kind of warrant that comes with ICE people, if it comes with ICE people. So I'm encouraging you, and I suspect I or OCPJ or other folks will be back here to say to you again, not because we think
15 seconds.
you're not doing your job, but because it's our job to encourage you to do yours. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you, everyone. Now we're moving on to the treasurer's report. We're going to consider item 6A, approval of minutes separately, because Mr. Wyatt was not here for the last meeting. So do I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented for the July 9th, 2025 regular meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Ms. Tefelsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Otto?
Yes.
Mrs. King? Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt? I'm sorry, Mr. Wyatt, you're abstaining. Dr. Howard?
Yes, thank you. All right, now we have a big block here, items 6B through 6I. 6B, approval of gifts. 6C, approval of appropriation modifications. 6D, approval of then and now over $3,000. 6E, approval of the financial report for July 2025. 6F, approval of fund-to-fund return. 6G, approval of the BCESC contract for physical therapy services for the 25-26 school year. 6H, approval of the fiscal year 26 BCESC omnibus agreement. And 6I, approval of the 2025-2026 service agreement with Best Point for school-based day treatment. Do I have a motion to approve items 6B through 6I?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion, questions? That was a lot of things on there, and most of these are pretty routine things.
The routine, even including the return of the advance that was done at the end of June to fund the 2 federal grants to get them to zero so that we could close the book. So even this return to the general fund is routine.
And the BCESC contracts and the Best Point, again, these are services that we contract every year.
Correct.
Okay.
None of the staffing in the omnibus, the Butler County omnibus, has changed. The positions are still the same. You could see a few changes in staff names, but the positions has not grown, it has not shrunk.
All right. Any other questions or conversation? Belsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Otto?
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt?
Yes.
Dr. Howard?
Yes. All right, item 6J is approval. It's recommended that the board give approval for the treasurer and/or superintendent to enter a contract with Verigy to complete the THS lighting project at a cost not to exceed $514,252. Verigy was the lowest responsive bidder. Do I have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion or questions?
So the 514, does that include the 20,000?
I'm sorry?
Does the 514, if we don't get the grant, will it still be under 514,000?
If we do not get the grant, it will still be that $514,000. If we do get the grant, then it would be $200,000 less.
All right, thank you.
I was going to ask, so you had sent us the facility improvement energy savings calculations here, and I was looking at the return on investment. How was that calculated?
This was all completed by Verigy.
Okay, because, so what I'm concerned with is typically when you do an ROI percentage, it would be the annual electrical savings plus the maintenance savings divided by the project cost times 100. But the way it looks like it was calculated, and this is a different way to do ROIs, but for non-operational savings, things like stocks and investments, it's the project cost minus the project savings divided by the project costs times 100. But what happens there is you get an ROI that is the inverse. So I believe the more appropriate way to do this calculation is, again, the annual electrical savings plus the maintenance savings divided by the project costs. So if you just look at the first item here, the retrofitting of the BIAX drum and flood fixtures, it says here there's a 76% ROI. Really, that should be 24% because the calculation's not, I don't believe it's done correctly. So the actual total savings, down here, the ROI percentage where it says 82% over 5.42 years, actually is only about 18%.
I'm not going to dispute that because I had nothing to do with this as far as this was the scope of work that was given to both companies, and they filled it out how they saw fit. So
Okay.
this is similar to what the other company did, but Bill and I had nothing to do with this.
Okay, because I mean, this is almost laughable. Like, there is the replacement of the exit signs. The project cost is $12,650. It says it will take 1,256 years to pay for itself to get 100% return on investment.
That would've-
1,250. I know that's
That
just
would have
like
been
crazy.
a perfect question when he was here. That would have been
Well,
a perfect question.
I thought Talawanda created this because
No.
it has a Talawanda.
It's
head on
it's
this.
a combination.
So basically what we did was we took a format, we made the format for the companies to fill in their work. All the companies do an ASHRAE level study. They come in with their team of engineers, they do their own ASHRAE level study. So like Shauna was saying, like we didn't put these numbers in, but we can definitely get questions, any kind of questions answered on those specific, because they all do an ASHRAE level study. And as part of their procurement process that they're vetted through the state with all the companies that we talked to about this project.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. Like, the return on, or the payback in years for another item here is 39 years. I mean, it's only warranted for 10 and will only last for 20. I mean, why would that even be there? To
Yeah,
get a 97% return on investment. Like, and where did 97, why aren't they all 100% returns on investment based on how many years it would take to get to 100% return on investment? Plus, I don't even think the return on investment is calculated correctly. In fact, the percentages are inverse of what is on this paper. Like, this is really disappointing.
So let me ask this question. So when we bid this out, were they the lower bid?
By just about 27%.
All right, so we know they need to be replaced. I agree with it, I'm not going to talk about the calculations, I don't know it enough. But the ultimate goal is it's going to be cheaper. They're the cheapest ones to put in lights that we have to have put in, right?
Yes.
And there will be savings, right? Not what you're,
Right.
not what
but-
maybe they're proposing, but
But
we
it
will.
scares me when a company says we're going to have an 82% return on investment, and I'm calculating it's actually 18%.
Well, I
I
get,
mean, that's
I'm
crazy.
inclined to believe the people who do this kind of work all the time, that this is their job, the company does this. I'm inclined to believe that they know what they're doing, that whether your calculation is the same as their calculation.
To do a return on investment, but it's not for measuring returns relative to like initial investments based on annual savings. The way they're doing it is looking at ROIs for non-operational savings, like I said, stocks, investments, things like that, which
Okay.
are completely different.
I actually don't have a problem
But-
with that.
So,
That's not mostly what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the cost, the base cost of replacing a system that we have to replace, comparing it to other vendors. We know this is going to be in that range. We know there are going to be savings. We know LED lights come in at a much lower usage
Yes,
than
they do have
fluorescent. So
savings.
we know there's going to be a savings.
and it makes me feel good that, yes, he did say he would write a check if we did not get to the percentage. That was,
Currently, the high school is one of the most efficient buildings within the state of Ohio. So I will happen to agree with Mrs. King in that I do see that it's going to be, I believe that it's going to be hard to see the type of cost savings on that first year. That was my alarm on that first year, because we are so efficient. If we were talking about the middle school, 100% I would agree that that would happen, because it is a very old system and it is the least effective within our buildings. But based on this, we are strictly going by the scope of the work that was done. It is equal, it is apples to apples as far as the scope of work that is done. Putting the return of investment aside, the cost of the work, the materials, the installation was the cheapest of the two.
And sometimes you do things because it's the right thing to do. We had solar panels installed on our roof, and our daughter disagreed with that decision. She said, "Mom, what's your ROI?" I said, "There's no way I can actually calculate that because electric rates fluctuate. We don't know what's coming back, but it's the right thing to do, too." And in this case, it's not just the right thing to do, we have to do it. We really just don't have any other options, unfortunately. So
Yeah,
let's fingers crossed on the grant.
Right, I think these might be good questions. I wish they would have been answered when the representative was here to answer them. If there was a misunderstanding that they were Talawandas as opposed to Hiss, I understand that. But I would agree with Dr. Howard and Mr. Otto that return on investment put aside, if in 5 months the kids are in the dark, I as a parent or student don't really care if it's a 24 or 76%. I think bottom line is we need the system at the high school. It's something we have to do. So we found the lowest competent company to do it. So whether their other numbers are, correct or incorrect was a discussion that would have been nice to have earlier. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, not everything is ROI. What's the ROI of a new football field carpet? I mean, I'm a football fan, so
Right.
I kind of like it, but it's really hard to calculate the ROI of that.
Right. We needed one, we got one.
Yeah, but yeah, I would definitely think it's fair to question how those numbers came about. But you just not everything we're a public school. We don't have P&L statements. Our ROI is the outcomes of students, not profit, loss, and margin. So.
Mr. Hubbard, Ms. Stafowski, thank you for your work on this. I know it's not easy. You've spent a lot of time on it, and I appreciate you putting that time in.
no problem.
Yeah, I want to make sure people know they really, the amount of time that's been put on this process is significant. We've been talking about this for months. They've been gathering figures, contacting vendors. So thank you. Yes, thank you. Good work. Any other questions or comments? Ms. Belsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Otto?
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
no.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Dr. Howard?
Yes. All right, item 6A is information only.
Okay, so this is our Auditor of State commercial paper reporting requirement for fiscal year '25. This is a list of our interest earned from commercial paper and bankers' acceptance investments. It totaled this year $526,000, but like I said, it is only the investments for the commercial paper side of these investments. If you add in the total of our other investments, we have an additional $1 million for fiscal year '25. So in total, we earned a little over $1.5 million in investment interest for last year. Some of the other items that I'd like to talk about in 6L, we did receive our Moody's ratings last month, and we have maintained our AA2 rating, which is excellent if we are ever in need of borrowing money in fiscal year '26. On a personal level, for those who don't understand what a Moody's rating is, because I certainly didn't when I was first hired in 2007, it's very similar to a personal credit rating. So it's my credit rating, but on a much larger scale for public entities.
And this allows us, when if we're going out for bonds, helps us to get the better interest rate.
Correct. So if we needed to borrow money tomorrow to make payroll, this would give us a better rate to borrow that money. Next item, Pay School Central. The transition between Easy Pay and Pay School Central has been completed. I will note that there are fees to utilize a credit card. This has increased as Pay Schools will not absorb any of the fees from the credit card company, so the current fee is 3.25%. The only fee that Pay Schools is keeping, so 3.25% goes to the credit card company. Pay Schools is keeping 75 cents per transaction if you use a credit card, or $1.75 per transaction if you pay by an electronic check. Talawanda is not receiving any portion of this 3.25%, $1.75, or this 75 cents. We are not receiving any of that money.
Is that cost being passed on to the person that's charging it?
Correct. But we are not receiving any of that. It is either going to the credit card company or it's going to Pay Schools as their small receipt for handling.
Great.
Later this month, the Butler Health Plan trustees will be meeting to set the rates for the health care for calendar year 2026. So hopefully we have some very solid numbers, and they are coming within projections as the forecast will be completed a month earlier this year. So I'm looking forward to getting that percentage of the rate setting increase. As soon as I have it, I will report back to you all. And work has begun on completing the annual financial information statement. This is the APHIS that is necessary to be done each year because we do have 2 bond payments that we are currently still paying on. And we are working on compiling the information to complete GAAP and working with the Auditor of State in our fiscal year '25 financial audit. And that is all I have to report.
Excellent, thank you. All right, moving on to the report of the superintendent. Again, we've got another big block. Excuse me. I need to let my colleagues know when I emailed you on Friday that we were going to block items A through I. One of the amendments was the BCESC Union Day contract. That's now added to this block, so we're now blocking items 7A through 7J. I also want to mention that all of these contracts now are contingent upon satisfactory background check, drug test, terms of contract, and other employment conditions and requirements. So we've got item 7A, approval of certificated licensed personnel. 7A1, approval of substitute administrator. 7A2, amendment of previously awarded limited contract. Item 7B, approval of classified personnel. We've got 7B1, approval of resignation. 7B2, acceptance of resignation. 7B3, acceptance of resignation. 7B4, acceptance of resignation. 7B5, acceptance of resignation. 7B6, acceptance of resignation. 7B7, acceptance of resignation. And 7B8, acceptance of resignation. 7B9 is approval of limited employment classified staff contracts for the individuals listed. 7B10, rescission of previously awarded limited employment classified staff contracts. 7B11, consideration of a one-year limited employment contract. 7B2, consideration of a two-year limited employment contract. 7B3, approval of substitute classified staff employees. 7B14, did I say 3 or 13? 7B12, 7B13, 7B14, approval of hours for an educational assistant, bus monitor positions. 7B15 is not included in the block, it's informational purposes only. 7C, approval of supplemental personnel. 7C1, approval of supplemental contracts. 7C2, rescission of supplemental contracts. 7C3, approval of amended supplemental contract. 7D, approval of a consultant contract. 7E, approval of annual special education model policy and procedures resolution. 7F, approval of student support guidelines and code of conduct for the 25-26 school year. 7G, approval of policies to reflect change in compliance officers. 7H, approval of the Best Point Agreement. 7I, approval of an MOU with BCSC for services provided through Union Day Therapeutic School. And 7J, approval of annual adoption of required nutritional standards. Do I have a motion to approve items 7A, 1 and 2, 7B, 1 through 14, 7C, 1 through 3, and then 7D, E, F, G, H, I, and J?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions, discussion?
I was just going to ask you, Ed, so the consultation position for Ms. Hoffman, is that again her helping students who are coming into the district with language barrier issues?
And
for families?
parents too. Could be IEP meetings, 504 meetings, parent conference meetings, registering.
Okay.
Yes.
And the reason I thought that was the case, someone
Yes.
reached out to me today and asked, so I wanted to make sure that was correct.
That is
Okay.
correct.
Any other questions or discussion? Belsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes,
Or Mrs. King?
it's fine.
I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
totally
sorry.
fine.
I was already on to Mr. Otto. Mr. Otto.
Yes.
Dr. Howard?
Yes. All right, 7K, addition of technology staff. Discussion and recommendation is recommended that the board approve the hiring of an assistant director of technology for the 25-26 school year. Do I have a motion to approve this hiring?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion, questions. We went over this last month before, June. Again, there were budget issues. We've come back with another item here. So does anybody have any other questions that we haven't already covered in previous discussions or want to revisit anything?
We want to give a brief summary for for people listening.
I think Dr. Throws offered a good summary here on the agenda, that this assistant director, again, we've got increased demands for IT services, oversight, response, maintenance, and originally we had a recommendation for several positions, but we definitely pushed back on that and asked to bring it down, and so we've compromised on this single assistant position. Again, if you want to, I don't want to read the entire thing here. Anybody who wants to go into the agenda can look at he's laid out here all of the things that the assistant director and the director work on to ensure compliance, safety, vision, mission, core values, and technological supports and resources for the district.
And the board asked me a few months ago to look into this matter, so I brought forth I'm going to say a more comprehensive plan. And then after listening to the discussions, I changed it or amended to this one position for that we're seeing, as you can read in here, but there's a huge increase of cybersecurity issues, internet issues. We have one-to-one devices for our students. They're getting, bad actors are getting more clever in how they can get into the system right now. Now, while we have staff, we are struggling to keep up with that, but we also understand the monetary component of it. So this was the time we waited until the governor's budget had passed, and we know the ramifications. We still don't know the veto, but we understand that the board's possibly going to make a decision tonight.
I think, when you look at an administration of a building anymore, the systems seem to permeate everything we do, whether it's,
Absolutely, from curriculum to everything, absolutely.
and just trying to keep those systems running so that a teacher or an administrator isn't spending their time looking at their computer because it's not working, really affects our productivity. I think it affects our teaching, so I'm in favor of this.
I was really surprised. You talk about, bad actors. We all hear about people, hacking into systems, but that increasingly AI is being used and being developed and used to hack into systems. And that's going to be really difficult to monitor and track and
It's
counter.
here, and it looks so real that just for people out there, like you in your own email, your own home email or internet, you may come across something that looks like a signature for a document, and it looks legitimate that you might get from a bank that you use. And then if you don't look carefully at the email address, and the email address may look almost exactly like that bank or whatever that entity is, but there might be a misspelling or an extra word or number to it. It's getting craftier, and AI is definitely help leading that charge.
And how many had you originally requested, Dr. Thoreau? How many positions had you originally requested?
So originally, I was requesting the assistant director that was posted here, and I was requesting that we have a staff member in all 5 of our buildings. So that would have been 2 more assistants. So it was a total of 3.
Thank you.
So that we could have somebody right there every time. Right now, we don't have enough, and we have to travel back and forth. So it does take time, but
With as many staff members as we have, as many students that we have, it's amazing that we only have the staff that we have to handle the situation now. And I don't like to add any more staff if we don't have to, but I can't honestly think of something better worthwhile to do and give us bang for our buck. You mentioned, bad actors. Your report today came out that you had Russia attacking judicial systems across the country over the last few years. You had China, I believe it was about 8 years ago, attack the state of South Carolina's state educational system, getting in to get private data from students. If you think that school districts are not a treasure trove of information for students and family information, then you don't know what you're talking about. So we are faced with monumental task of defending the district and our resources of information, not to mention the technological problems that we have with our tools and our computers. That's a whole other, that's a full-time job for somebody else to do. So I think this is something that's well worth doing.
can I just share one more thing too? We, in September, Mark Hopkins works for SOCA, and community probably doesn't know, I sit on the board. SOCA is like our umbrella IT. He is going to do a presentation to the board and community, and I've talked with Dr. Howard. We'll have some information that's shared in executive session that has to be confidential based upon that need. So there's going to be some more information coming out, because I think it's important for at least the community to know.
And SWOCA, again, Southwest Ohio Consortium
Computer Association.
of what?
Computer Association.
Computer Association. Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Elsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Otto?
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
No.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, informational items.
Informational items, I'll try to be quick on this. I made 2 videos that are out there, and one of the videos very briefly discussed the cell phone electric communications ban that the governor signed into law in the budget. Schools are required by January to have a policy in place. Our current policy in Neola works somewhat, not all the way. It is in the process by Neola being tweaked. We talked as a leadership team as well as talked with many staff members and talked with other schools. We did not want to implement a cell phone ban in January, mid-year, because it would be difficult to pull back. So we wanted to start this. So we have the procedures in place. We are encouraging cell phones, electronic communications could be smartwatches, Apple Watches, anything that's a communication device to stay home. If they're brought to school, we are strongly recommending keep them in your lockers, cubby holes, backpacks, turned off. If you are wearing it, we are not going to be searching you, but it needs to be turned off. But if it goes off, or if your student is using it during the instructional day, so that means from when they get there in the morning to when they leave, hallways, passing times, electives, classroom times, lunch times, recess for those that have recess, you're not to use your school phones. There will be consequences for that, a warning, then there's confiscation, and then there's parent pickup, and then there's other code of conduct violations depending on what goes down. Could there be a search at that point in time? Yes, but if it's in the pockets, we're not going to judge at that point. So I know one of the concerns is safety. What if there's a safety issue at Talawanda? Our first role and responsibility is to make sure everyone is safe, students and staff. And from that point in time, then we will provide students and families with access to communicate with their children. If it's a day-to-day business, we encourage parents, guardians to call the main offices, get messages that way. If students need to contact their families, they need to get permission from an adult and be able to use one of the school phones. So there are some of that. Please remember, this is law that's going into effect, and we are complying with the law with that. We really have not had a major cell phone or communication issue overall. There have been some issues, but there is some changes with that.
And I think it's important, if I'm not mistaken, for people to understand that there will still be some kids with either watches or cell phones if they have medical exemptions or needs.
Thank you. I'm so sorry that I missed that. Absolutely. So if you're a diabetic and you're doing your glucose monitoring or your insulin's coming from that, absolutely.
Okay.
Those, absolutely, those are acceptable.
And Dr. Thurl, unless I missed it in the fine print, how are we going to confiscate? I served in a district this went very badly when we imposed this.
We're gonna, the teacher's gonna ask for it, and if it doesn't, then we're going to get the administrators involved. Administrators may need to remove the student to the office, and then if it becomes a code of conduct violation, that's something else. There could be additional discipline or actions issued to it, but it's contacting the parent and getting in communication with the parent about, you know, your communication device, your child's in the office right now, is, you know,
Right. I'm talking about the chain of custody of the device.
Oh.
That is my biggest concern because I've seen this happen badly.
We're not going to store them with the teacher. It needs to be stored at the office. Great question, because I know some schools have purchased those
Little locker pouches things.
all of that stuff, and I've seen those go wrong. I've seen those have issues. So our process is to have it stored at the office under the care of
Right, and in no time, any staff member gets the PIN number to get into
Yeah.
someone's device. That should never be asked by
the.
confiscating
No,
that phone.
thank you for sharing that too. Yes, that is not the goal. Absolutely, no. This means a student took out his or her cell phone, was communicating on his or her, could be texting, could be phone call, or it rings, that's problematic. Again, first time warning, and then it moves up to progressive change. But we are not looking into the phone unless there's a reasonable suspicion for something else. Now, that is not part of this.
Right, but all staff is going to be really educated on the confiscation protocol and not just
Buildings-
confiscating,
buildings
not
have
just
started
taking
their
the phone and, yes.
Buildings have started. We had an all-staff meeting, and I went over it as well, a little bit, and then the buildings are going over it in more detail. It looks very different at the elementary level to high school. A 5-year-old with I'm going to say a smartwatch or whatever it is, looks, using it, it's much different than a 15-year-old. So there's got to be some teaching probably at the elementary level.
And for school-related after-school activities, they can have it at that point, like
Yes.
for pickups and things
Yes,
like that.
yes. For after-school activities, yes. Okay, I'm sorry, stop. I just thought I was done. But please be out 15 minutes in advance for the bus stops. Please, just a reminder, it's going to take up to 3 weeks to get bus routes on time. We also are having still enrollments, which include new bus routes and new times, so it will change. The bus routes are posted on our website and will be updated on our website, but don't be surprised if the buses are late. Don't be surprised if they're early this week because we don't have K-1, especially the elementary. Don't be surprised if they come home a little bit later as well, as we want to ensure bus drivers get your children to the right space and location to get off. Remember K-1, there's got to be an adult out there to pick up.
Can I add in here, I've heard a couple of, this is a little online chatter. If you have questions about your bus route, or if you have questions about when school starts, don't ask Google.
AI does not do a good job.
Go to the district website, talawanda.org. You will find information there. If you can't find the bus information, call the bus number, which is on the website.
Yes. Plan B. So I know it's summer. I know it's 90 degrees out. But you know, it changes like this in a minute. In Ohio, we could have snow, in a month or two or whatever it is. So please have your plan B ready. Make sure the students, your children know that for in case there's emergencies, in case there's delays, in case there's early dismissals, and in case there are any type of closing. It's never too early to start planning and make sure children know that. The other thing I'm going to talk about is ensuring contact information is correct, up to date, on who can pick up your children and information. We had a public speaker today talk about a little bit of those concerns that possibly could happen. It is important to understand, you can have multiple people come pick up your students, but we need people that can come and pick up your children that are on the list. If there is an emergency or something happens and we go to that list and all of the contact information people are involved in that emergency, we may have nobody to pick up this child. So I need you to make sure that's up to date. I also need you to make sure that your final forms are filled out and completed, and that information's up to date. And if you have blocked us or unsubscribed to us, you're not getting information. So you have to correct that information as well.
Wasn't there also a reminder with final forms that if people went in before July, they need to go back in and do it again? Because the
Yeah,
system.
it was July 20th or 21st.
Yeah, the system switched over, so, yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. Information about release time for religious instruction. I know we had another public speaker talked about this. So It is a law. It has been signed into law in Ohio. We are obligated to follow this law. Whether I agree with it or disagree, whether the board agrees with it or disagree, it's law. However, we do have some control over this. We do have policy in place. Per the law, students with parent consent may leave the building 1 day a week for religious instruction in non-core subjects. 4 subjects have been determined by myself as all typical core subjects like English language arts, math, science, social studies, history, electives, but also intervention, music, art, and PE. There's lots of studies and research on how those subjects improve students' overall achievement. So again, what does that leave? Lunch, recess time. We don't have any study halls, but if we were to implement study halls, that would be a non-core. So with that, I was approached by an institute that wants to offer religious instruction. So they're going to do it. They're going to start at 2 elementaries, Bogan and Kramer. They have about 40 minutes with lunch and recess to do this. They must have a person who is background checked. Again, they're supposed to provide us with proof that these people have been background checked. We don't do it. They don't do it. We don't know anything about the teachers or what certification they have or don't have. That would be on them. The parent is agreeing to have this entity come into the building, sign their child out. Their child will leave with the person or people, get on the transportation they provide. Again, we have no say on what that is. Is it a car? Is it a van? I'm hoping there will be at least 2 people, adults, monitoring this. But again, that's between the parent and the entity. They go off and they have to be brought back in on time, signed back in on time. If students are signed in late, that could be a problem. It's attendance and truancy. And understand, we have attendance laws that we also have to follow in a process that we also have to follow by state law. So there could be consequences for that type of violation. Lunch will not be provided by the school. I know that was some of the questions. Why? Think about it. If we had a child, and if the entity wants this, wants to go through the lunch line because they get a hot lunch, that's what we offer, they would get a hot lunch. It could take 5-10 minutes of that time, but they're getting a hot lunch. We are not creating additional lunches like a lunch bag for students. Parents have to understand this is what they're signing up for, and all liability will be on the entity because it's just like a parent coming in, signing out their child. They're under the parent's care, not Talawanda School District's care at a point in time. The speaker today also mentioned, why don't we offer or do this after school? We do have a group at Marshall that does offer it after school. It's not full year, all year. It's called the Good News Club. So we do have precedents, and that has worked extremely well. I can tell you with this entity that came and asked me, I offered that suggestion as well, that this could be a possibility. And in fact, I said this might be a better way to get students because, especially at the elementary level, I know some elementary, especially Bogan and Marshall in particular, that don't have the Y latchkey. That might be a way to extend the day a little bit to help some of the working families. So that information was shared with that. And to this date, there's been no movement to move in that direction, but there has been movement to start working and pulling kids at Bogan and Kramer. Just understand what you're signing up for.
I think it's important, too, to know, again, the timeline of this. Previously, the state had a law that said districts may create a policy for religious time.
Correct.
Or release time for religious instruction, and our policy was, we don't. But the state now changed that language.
To
There's
shall.
no may, it's shall. So,
Correct.
again, that choice was taken away from,
I just want you to go in with an informed decision. If you decide to
An
use
informed
this,
decision,
understand the
yeah.
time and understand what it is. And you weigh that and you, the pros and cons, and if it's a pro for you and you decide to go with it, that's great. We're also asking for no trinkets to be brought back. Here's the reason why trinkets not to come back. We don't have places to store the trinkets and information, and depending what it is. And I don't want children to lose items that they may have created and made, and that becomes a problem in the school system. So we're asking for that as well.
Dr. Thoreau, may I ask a question?
Sure.
The waiver that the parents would be signing, is there a statement on it that holds Talawanda harmless if something happens to that child?
No, because we are not in control of it. This is not our consent and release. Just as I said, I am not, or Talawanda, I shouldn't say I. Talawanda is in charge of liability. Talawanda is not in charge of providing lunches. Once they are signed out, because that parent has given them permission, it's between the parent and the entity. And that's clear, because the child is being signed out.
and we meaning office staff, when they come in to sign out, will know which kids have actually been
Thank you.
signed up.
Yes, they have to give us the list, and then
Okay.
also the person who comes in, we have to verify that that person is the person that is designated to pick up the children.
Right.
Yes, yes, yes. I've talked to secretaries, administrators, I mean, we've talked about that. I made a video a little bit about this too, so it's online. But any other questions about that?
I don't know. I just can't imagine anything possibly going wrong with folks picking up children. Maybe call me an altar boy. I was an altar boy for years. I just can't imagine anything possibly going wrong with folks who we don't know, no background checks, getting in a van, going for religious study and coming back.
And it
good
has
to
to be
great.
off campus. Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's a really smart idea. You know.
How do I know if there's one adult, two adults?
We don't know.
I don't know.
And that's great. I think that's great. Call me old-fashioned. I went to Sunday school every year. I was forced to go to Sunday school every week. I think you have Sunday school Sunday. I don't know. Or Wednesday. Not during school hours. I also think it's blasphemous to mix the two. I do. So I have a lot of problems with this. I also like to point folks into a lot of the reporting that has gone on about LifeWise, and they like to sue people that say this, but they make a lot of money because they're a nonprofit, but they do. In Indiana and other states, when it's not mandatory, they make a lot of money. So I would like to point folks into that direction to sort of follow how much is being made by these nonprofits to pick up our children, to take them off campus, and to supposedly bring them back every single time. So I think it's a real concern that everyone, whether you have a child or not, should think about.
I shared our policy with the entity that came. 3 people came to my office. So they have the current policy. I shared information. I offered, as I said, after school. So they have knowledge. And if a parent signs up for this, I just want the parent to be informed. If that's what's right for them, we're following the law. But I have some concerns, absolutely. The next thing I want to say is a reminder, buses are on the road. Butler Tech started last week, as Board Member Mead stated, but more buses tomorrow, lots more buses. Student drivers, our very first time driving, right? And we also have staff, it should be in staff, are driving, I apologize for that. But we also have students that are being picked up and dropped off. There's kids walking, there's lots of safety concerns. And I know sometimes we're late, but we can't be in a rush because we're talking about lives and injuries. And we have seen in neighboring districts what has happened with some people in crosswalks. And we just need to be vigilant and be patient and leave a few minutes early. Better to leave a few minutes earlier or be a few minutes late than compromising the safety of someone. And I want to
Also, I just want to point out too, especially for all drivers, and please make sure your student drivers know this, there are no roads, streets, highways within the Talawanda district in which opposing traffic does not have to stop for a school bus.
great
We do
statement.
not have any four-lane divided
Great
highways.
statement.
So if a school bus is coming towards you, you're coming that way, that school bus stops. By law, you have to stop. There's no streets in this district where you can pass a school bus that way.
Thank you. Lastly, we had our open, welcoming staff meeting today. It was great to have all of the staff together. Students start tomorrow. It's going to be a great school year. There was lots of positivity this morning, and I'm excited to get the buildings filled with staff and students. That's it for me.
Thank you. All right, items from board members. I would like to encourage families to ask your child's teacher if they have an Amazon wish list for their classroom. And if they do, if you're able to spare a little bit. I've seen many of those wish lists, and they are not extravagant things. Teachers are asking for books, additional supplies. Just if you're able to, that would be an awesome way to support your child's teacher. Any other items from board members?
I just had one thing. There was a date change for this, but this Saturday is the Farmers Give Back Tractor Pull at 5 p.m. at the Franklin County Fairgrounds. This is sponsored by the Franklin County FFA along with the Talawanda FFA, and it's my understanding the proceeds are split between the two. So it's a good fundraiser for them, and I will be there probably pulling a tractor. So we'll see how that goes. Come check it out.
And I want to thank the, one of the local organizations, one of the many organizations that help our students. On, I think it was Sunday night, the Kiwanis had their back-to-school bash at the Oxford Community Swimming Pool. It's probably about 150 kids there and families, and they provide them food, and then different groups set up booths and give kids things. And a number of local barbers gave free haircuts, which is really tremendous for a lot of the kids to get that haircut before they go back to school. And I just think it's such a great thing the Kiwanis do for our kids. And I know that there are other organizations in the area that do things at other times of the year, but I wanted to give them kind of a shout out. And also I was able to go to the all-staff meeting this morning, and it was really good to see many of my former colleagues so excited to be back at work. It was really a positive atmosphere. It was kind of fun to be back at an all-staff meeting. I hope after I left it was short, because that is a wish of every teacher.
It wasn't so
What we want to
short.
do is get in our rooms and get ready for those kids, and I wish you all luck tomorrow.
Deep breathing. Anything else before we move on? So the Capitol Conference coming up in November 16th through the 18th. We have sent delegates to this the last couple of years, and I think we brought it up at the last meeting that we were going to ask about it. I have not been to this. I've gone to the spring conference once. I actually can go this year. I'm not teaching, so I am free. Anybody want to go with me?
All of you can go if you want to go.
We could all go.
Gosh, I wish I could go, but I have commitments.
Yeah, that just suddenly came up, right, in the last 30 seconds.
No, I do have an appointment. I can't make it. So.
Then if you go, will you be our representative to the delegate assembly?
Apparently, I
And-
suppose.
And I'm not sure if that's something we actually have to vote on.
That's
and
what I
choose.
have. I have a
Okay.
question mark on there. Do
Yeah,
we have to
I
vote
think
on
in the
that?
past we
Yes.
voted on that, and then, yeah, because that's when the OSBA votes on their legislative platform. And it's nice to have someone from the district representative, so I'm glad you're going.
Will anyone else
I can
be
have a
attending?
year off.
Anyone else be attending to be an alternate?
If something happens, I can take your place, but I will not be attending unless something happens.
Okay.
That's
and-
the definition of an alternate.
And just to let
Well,
you
I'm not
know,
gonna
we
go
could
up
switch that out that easily from
Yeah.
the room to the registration to the delegate. That could be, so I'll list Pat Mead as a delegate, just in case, alternate delegate, just
Alternate
in
delegate.
case, so that'll be
Okay.
on the list. Yes.
I'm
Okay.
gonna switch the room out if she can't go. Okay.
So do we need a motion for me to be the delegate and Pat to be
Yes.
the alternate?
Yes.
Yes.
Who would like to move that?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion or questions? Belsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Otter?
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Dr. Howard?
Yes. Okay, we need to change the date of the October board meeting with the change from the legislature requiring, they're changing the dates of the five-year forecasts. So the five-year forecast this year, moving forward, it's going to be in August, but because that was too soon, they've moved it to October 15th.
Correct.
So we have to have a meeting before that
Correct.
to present the five-year and approve the five-year forecast.
And then allow enough time for it to get formatted properly to go to the state.
So the suggestion is October 9th. What day of the week is that?
Thursday.
Oh, that's a Thursday. Wait, what?
Moving up 1 week.
We're moving up. Did I ever mention that math is not my strong suit? No, because the 15th originally, it was going to be on a Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah. So we're moving it
To the earlier Wednesday.
there. My math isn't as bad as I thought it was. That's only 6 days. All right, so do we need a motion? Do we need to vote on this since, I would guess we
Yes.
do,
Yes.
since we had already voted in the date of the 15th. So it's recommended that the October board meeting be changed to October 9th, 2025. Do I have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion, questions? Belsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Otter?
Yes.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt?
Yes.
Dr. Howard?
Yes. There are no other items from board members? Right. Upcoming future board events, we actually will be scheduling a special session for sometime within the next 2 weeks. It will be primarily to complete what we were not able to complete in executive session tonight. We will announce that as soon as we've got to gather some availability, calendar availability, so we'll announce that as soon as we have that date. Other than that, our September meeting then is September 11th. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions, discussion? Ms. Tefelsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Otter?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt?
Yes.
Dr. Howard?
Yes. Thank you all. Good luck, teachers and students and families.
Yes, good luck.
It's going to be awesome.
Thank you.